Welcome to the latest edition of Lunchtime Learning. I'm delighted to be joined today by Jennifer Hartburn from Harrington Brown in County Durham. So thank you very much for joining me today, Jennifer. How are you?
I'm good, thanks, Stephen. Thank you for inviting me to join you.
It's an absolute pleasure. So tell us a little bit about yourself. How did you end up in agency with the most amazing, one of the best shops, estate agency shops I've ever seen?
Thanks, Stephen. So I used to work for Harrington Brown when I first moved down to the Northeast. That was a good 10, 11 years ago as a property advisor. Then left to start a family and was full-time mum, but I'm the kind of person that can't really ever sit still. So while I was maternity and all the rest of it, dabbled a bit in interior design. I've always been hugely interested in property. We've had our own couple of rentals and things before. And then had the opportunity that Harrington Brown was closing. The previous owner was retiring, and my husband planted a seed in my head that possibly I could buy the business and take the business on. It kind of been a growing concern and had kind of been like, didn't have any business on the books and was closing down. It's just after lockdown, and I was like, do I do this? Do I not? So anyway, long story short, spoke to the owner and she was shutting her doors on the 31st of December 2020. And I thought, do you know what? Maybe I could. So we officially bought and rebranded and turned Harrington Brown into Harrington Brown Property Limited, and officially started trading on the 11th of January 2021. So there you go.
So just hitting your third year, so congratulations on the anniversary. So massive learning curve from when you started. So you said you've taken on an agency, hasn't got any properties. How have you built it up to where it is today?
So I think huge, my background was kind of like sales and marketing and customer service as well. So one of our huge focuses was heavily focused on customer service, not just there to sell you a house, but to kind of be part of the community and just spend a lot more time trying to find out the reasons why you want to sell, things like that. So we've kind of become the little village drop-in, probably popping with the dogs. We've always got the treats for the dogs. But yeah, just being like the local go-to agent, being a bit more approachable, working different hours. We've got a lot of clients actually overseas, so thinking outside the box and communicating via WhatsApp. We're not the 9 to 5 agent, so it's really tough the first year. Obviously, when a company changes hands, they don't know you. First year was a big struggle. We had all the corporates, undercutting us on fees and saying, oh, you do know that Harrington Brown aren't on Rightmove, which we weren't at the time. We are now. So the first year was tough, don't get me wrong. And I think you take a lot of things personal. If you lose business, then, is it because of me? Did they not like me? So it was hard, but slowly the client base that we've built up, it's become word of mouth and reputation. We've really heavily focused an investment into prop tech technology, which has grown massively since I was first in the industry. So that's been a huge eye opener. But it's the way forward. It's what people expect. It's kind of going above and beyond and maybe offering things that other agents don't. So I think we're one of the only agents in the area that has a touchscreen TV outside the building. So that's great for exposure. For out of hours, people can kind of see the properties. They can click on and request more information, arrange a viewing and things like that. Same with like 360 tours, drone footage and aerial photographs as well. So it's pitching that higher standard of marketing, and that's kind of, I think, what has started to become recognised for.
Right, I'm taking loads of notes because I've got loads of questions for you about everything you said. No. So I want to just to take it back. And you said about the customer service and the community being so important. So, I mean, most estate agents say they offer great customer service and they're involved in the community. What does that actually mean, great customer service and getting involved in the community? And I actually love what you said there about you being the village drop-in. and people coming in and getting their dog treats and whatever. So can you tell us a little? Oh, loads of questions all wrapped in one. I'm sorry.
No, that's fine. So one of my biggest concerns, obviously, with lockdown, we do have quite a prominent position at the office, and I started to think, oh my gosh, are people going to come in? Do people want to be in the village? Do they want to drop in? Is everything going to be online? But kind of when we're seeing like the customer service, we've got a lot of different age groups of clients. So yeah, people want to do everything online and they want to email at 11 o'clock at night and things like that. We've also got a lot of elderly clients who actually don't have an email address. They don't want to be online. They want to come in and have a cup of tea and speak to you and ask questions. And I think it's about offering that service, being adaptable to your customers and their needs. And every client's different. And that's again where you go personal. It's finding out why they're selling, what they need. I mean, we've gone to a couple of properties to do valuations, and one property was a gorgeous house and everyone was like, oh wow, that will sell so quickly. It was actually a situation where I said to the vendor, it was their parents' property, do you need to sell? And they looked a bit confused because I knew emotionally at that time it wasn't the right thing for them to do because there was too much emotional attachment. That was 2 years ago. We took the property on for them and project managed it into a renovation to get the property to a standard to rent it, because long term, this lady would like to live in that house herself. Had we not asked the right questions, if I'd just gone there thinking, I want to get this business on my books, I want to get it on a target, to list it, then we would never have come to that kind of conclusion. So I think it's kind of thinking out the box and, maybe asking the odd question to figure out, is it what they really want, or, just trying to help them achieve what they're looking to achieve. So it's little things like that where I think if a corporate agent had gone in there, it would just been about selling the property and not really understanding the personal situation as to why they were selling the things. So it's just about making a bit more time. Same with valuations. It's not just like, we'll pop out for half an hour and give you. Sometimes if it's a deceased estate or a separation, you've got to be able to offer a bit more time. And sometimes it's not always the right thing to sell. And I'm not scared to say it. I don't think it's the right time for you. And they'll appreciate that advice as well, rather than us just going out and kind of being like, let's get this piece of business listed. So in regards to community, obviously I live in the village. I've got children that go to local schools. So we do a lot of things, and I tend to get involved in elf trails and Easter egg hunts and things, which much to my husband's disappointment when I tell him he's going to be a 6'4" Easter bunny, but it always goes down well. So yeah, I think it's just kind of that small village. Same with the office. It's a very small office, but I'd like to think that we're a small family and people get that impression as well, and they can pop in and we'll stick the kettle on and make time for them.
Okay. So I love what you just said. I love that story about that lady, and I think that's great advice for the family. I remember years ago doing exactly the same thing, and they ended up renting out the property, whereas every other agent told them to sell.
Yeah.
And then 5 years later, they came back and I was in a different office, and they asked whether I was still there. And they said, yes, Stephen's still here, but different office. Well, can you thank him, please? Because he was the only agent that took time to listen to our needs, understand, and give us a different opinion to everybody else. For properties appreciated considerably. We've had great tenants in there. Thank you. And so many agents just see it as a one-off transaction, and not, we're here to be trusted advisors. We're here to be doctors. We're here to ask great questions and then come up with a solution. And I love that. Brilliant story. So, and what you're going to do is you're going to gain loads of raving fans, because they're going to tell everybody, Jennifer's that go-to estate agent you need to speak to, because she tells it how it is and how it should be. So I love that story.
Yeah, I have gone to a few valuations, and my first things I always say is I'm open and honest. So there has been a few conversations where if a property needs work, I'm not afraid to tell them that. At the end of the day, we put the property on to achieve the best possible price. So if there's things I feel that to get the house ready for market, they do, then I'm not afraid to say it. So maybe I'm a bit like Marmite. You would love me or hate me.
Okay, well, sounds like you're doing the right things. So you talked about in the first year you weren't on Rightmove, and maybe you didn't win the amount of instructions you wanted to win, and you took it very personally.
Yeah.
How did you learn to overcome that it wasn't about you? and taking it so personally, because I'm sure there's a lot of people watching this that they lose an instruction, they lose a sale, they do take it personally. You got any tips to overcome that?
Slowly you learn that you win some, you lose some. And then the reason I wasn't on Rightmove to start with was the financial cost. I had no money coming in, so until I could build the business up, and then we would join it. So I joined Rightmove in my second year, and that was my accountant that said to me, look, you can afford to take that payment now, and you can do this. And if that's what everyone's holding against you, and or Harrington Brown are not on Rightmove, if you become on Rightmove, what can they hold against you? What can they say about you? You offer everything they offer and more. So I was like, yeah. And then it just kind of gave me the confidence. And also the figures that we're looking at. We were at the point, and I think we still are, one of the fastest selling agents in DH8. So again, just having the confidence to say that. And if they chose not to come with us, then thank them for their business and wish them all the best and move on.
Okay, brilliant. So you talked about being the fastest selling agent, which is exceptional. Hopefully there aren't any agents in your area that listen to this. But what are you doing in your process and systems and processes that make sure that you're selling it and you're the quickest agent?
So I think it comes a lot down to the valuations. I find our valuations are very realistic. There's a lot of agents that are still valuing, where we were 2020, 21. We're not going to be at that price again. So just being a lot more realistic. Also, like the wording that we're used, we don't like to use offers in excess of. Buyers don't like it. And I think we listen, when we go out and do our valuations, we're listening to what buyers are looking for and what they're saying. And it's kind of just advising, kind of keeping on track of what the market is and what people's budgets are and what they're looking for. So there's a few valuations where I've gone to and I've been quite a bit out compared to another agent. One in particular, a year later, that house, it was my first valuation of 2023. And I lost every valuation in January last year, and it really, really took its toll on me. And I started to think, what have I done wrong? It just really threw me. And then February picked up and I was winning the instructions. So it's January 24 now, and 2 of those properties are still on the market. So yeah, they went with another agent, but they're still there. So, and that's down to pricing, and I think not over valuing properties.
Okay, 100%. Pricing is going to be massive, as is communication as well this year, keeping in contact with them. So, if they haven't sold it, hopefully massive opportunity for you to get it second time round at the right price and at the fee that you deserve.
Fingers crossed.
So you talked about tech and how tech's made a difference. And I know you talked about touch screens, you talked about the 360, the drones. Is there any other tech that you feel that's worked really well and is making a big difference to you?
Yeah, so we use a digital presentation now for our evaluations. So we do a pre-appointment, and I think that's the key to it, because we've got the option with a digital presentation about your valuer, who you're going to be meeting, and what we'll cover during your valuation or market appraisal. We also have the option to do a video to send that. So I think that's a key thing, because before we even get our foot in the door, we've introduced ourselves and we've kind of proved a little bit about what the company does and about our stats as well. So that's been a huge thing. And also, Stephen, video. Because
video.
Yeah, all I've heard all last year was video. You need to get yourself out there, get your face out there. I hate social media from a personal point of view. I also like to just hide behind the scenes, and I don't really want to kind of listen to myself and see my face on social media. But everyone's doing it, and I keep getting told, yeah, you've got to get on there. I cringed, but I know that we had a chat last year, and I came off the phone. I thought, right, we're doing it. Got the tripod, got the microphones, got everything. And like you said before, it's about pushing yourself out of your comfort zone. And once you've done it a few times, it just will come naturally. So I'm not sure if my part's come naturally yet, but the team are doing really well. We've had loads of feedback from the videos. a lot of interaction on Facebook as well. And just last week, we posted a property which had the most amazing views, and it was just a clip saying, "How would you like to wake up to this view in panoramic view?" That house sold from a social media post over asking price and didn't even go on the market. So, yeah, video definitely does work, Stephen. Thank you for that.
Are you sure? Great. That's a great example. So coming back early, you said you've got family, mother, you juggle. How do you cope with all of that? How do you do that? Because again, there's going to be people similar position to you, maybe looking to start their business, run a business, maybe a negotiator in a business, have young kids. How do you juggle all of that? Have you got any top tips, please?
It's been tough, but the biggest thing is when people offer help, take their right hand off, because I'm also very stubborn and independent, and I feel like I should do it all on my own. But it's understanding that people are there to help. So I'd be lost. I've got an amazing mother-in-law, and if I didn't have her, that would be, I don't actually know if I could have gone into this, because my husband also works away from home. But yeah, it's about work-life balance. I'm now, as I say, going into 2024, I've grown from having myself plus a part-time member of staff to now having 4 members of staff and me. So I'm finally at the stage now where I can be a bit more flexible in my working hours. And I think what a lot of people don't realise is I might not get to the office till 9:15 because I've got to drop the kids at school, then I've got to leave at 2:30. But there's a lot of long hours where you can start 5:30, 6 in the morning, and then you work till 10, 11 at night when the kids are in bed. But it pays off, and I can now obviously build the business up, and I can afford to have the staff and the team there to run it. So it's a big thing, but sometimes you've just got to push yourself, and when someone tells you can't, then prove that you can.
Like that. Okay, so building a team, how have you found that? How have you found recruitment, and how have you found building a culture within that team?
That's a part I find quite difficult, and I'll be honest, sometimes I don't enjoy being the boss. Don't like the responsibility and be like staffing issues and things. And what I've found really important is we've just recruited a senior agent last year, and that was so hard to find because it's a small independent. It had to be someone that wasn't going to change the dynamic of our team, because we're quite a small team, we're all quite close. So it had to, and also personality wise, someone I've got to work with quite closely. And it was tough. I had loads of applications, and some of them I wrote off before, didn't even interview. So yeah, that was really, really hard. But I've now got a fantastic member, Aidan, who has been a breath of fresh air. He's taken a huge weight off my shoulders, and we bounce off each other. When we go out together and do valuations, we have a bit of a laugh, and the team spirit as well. We've got a young apprentice in the office too, so I feel like we've got a really, really good team, and I'm excited for 24 to really gel and watch the business grow.
Brilliant. So you talked about going together to valuations. How's that received by potential sellers, 2 of you turning up?
So a couple of people, well, to start with, when Aidan first started, it was more like just saying, I'm only here to kind of supervise. He's just started with us. But sometimes when you go to, we've got a lot of rural properties, so they're not your bog standard 4-bed detached where you can just look at what's sold next door. So it's always nice to have a second opinion with that as well. I think people quite enjoy it. It's a bit more, we've made it kind of quite informal. There's only been a couple that have been like, oh, wasn't expecting 2 of you to be here. And we've just kind of explained that we're still kind of working together and doing a bit of training and things, but it goes down really well. And that's another huge thing for self-doubt. I used to come back and be like, oh no, I've overvalued, and did I do that right? And a massive pressure. But I feel when we're doing it together, we share it and we discuss it, and most times we're on the same path. And I think it's a huge help, because when you go back to the office and you're on your own, nobody else has seen the property, nobody else knows how it went, and you can, I messed this up, I shouldn't have said that, I should have done that. So I think when it's the 2 of you there, it's kind of just taking the pressure off a little bit.
Okay, so God, you're doing well. So you come over lot of what people were saying about you. You're not on right move. You've overcome that. You've overcome your self-doubt. So confidence is a big thing in agency. So again, there's going to be people watching this. How can people build their confidence up?
So the biggest thing for me, because I sat here 2 years ago feeling very lost and lonely, and I think when you're self-employed, you don't have someone to bounce off. Yeah, I can speak to family and friends, and my husband's a great support, but they're not in there every day. They're not the ones that's being challenged and questioned and losing business. So my biggest thing is networking, and there's been a huge support. So local network groups where it's not estate agency related, but it's just other business owners, like-minded people. So I think surround yourself with people that are positive and like-minded, and just keep going. If you get knocked back, just brush it off and get back out there. Facebook groups as well. There's a lot of people online and other independent agents. I mean, I didn't really have that when I first started out, but now I actually don't know what I do. Like the women in the estate agency group, they've been amazing. Also, when I first started, I was paired with a mentor, Murray Lee from Dreamview. I was paired with him through Agents Together, and he was an incredible support as well. If you just had a little bit lack of confidence or you're feeling a little bit down, I could just drop him an email, and he would always just make me smile and have my back. So I think it's just connecting, finding those people and connect with them.
Okay, well, Agents Together does phenomenal work. So again, if there's anybody watching this and is after an exceptional mentor or wants to become a mentor or a mentee, please get in contact with me and I'll put you in touch with the appropriate people, because
they were fantastic.
Brilliant. Okay, so how has Women in the Estate Agency group helped you?
Oh, I think just personally, not just business wise as well, but that's when you realize that we're all sometimes juggling a lot, whether it's family or other things. And I think it's just, the group's great. You can put a little post on, and they've just been so supportive about everything. And then you realize, like, oh, I'm not the only one that feels like this. So yeah, they've been really good. Monthly meetups, go to the conference in March. But again, it's making you feel that there's so many more people. Again, when I first came back into the industry, I forgot how aggressive it was. And typically being quite male orientated. So I think having this support and these women that are just driving the business forward. And again, that's given me a lot of confidence as well. And just knowing that there's other agents and independents that they're not competitors in different areas, but you can just shout out quick advice, quick question. And I've been amazed at the support. And there was one person I said, you're an independent as well, and you've got your own business, you're busy. Like, why do you do this? And she said, well, Jennifer, I had support when I first started out, so I'm just paying it forward. And I thought, yeah, that's a huge thing. So something I've picked up as well. I mean, if I can ever help anyone or someone wants to pick my brains and what's left of them, then, I'll offer that and be there as well. But it's just the community, I think, and just the encouragement that you get from it.
Brilliant. And you touched on the conference, and I know it's in March, I think, in the Savoy, Piccadilly. And I have a pleasure of being on the panel last year, and I can honestly say it is the best conference I think I've ever been to, property related. It was absolutely exceptional. So I look forward to seeing you in March and meeting you in person. Really excited about that. So I'm really conscious of time and grateful for your time. So a couple of final questions. Obviously, you've mentioned women in the estate agency group, but is there anybody in particular who inspires you and you look up to?
Yeah, there's quite a few people. The one that sticks out the most, and I was actually just messaging today as well, is Michelle Gallagher from JDG. I love her branding, I love her social medias, and she's just such a lovely person. I met her at the EA Masters in London in November and went to say hi. And just the time that she took to catch up and say good luck and great that you're hearing things. So yeah, it's just there's probably too many to name, but just knowing that you can pick someone's brain and ask for support, and if they don't know the answer, they pass you on to someone else. And yeah, it's been really, really supportive and all really positive.
Brilliant. And what do you do to self-learn? Apart from all these groups, is there anything else that you read, you listen to, that you think would inspire people listening or watching?
Yeah, actually, I've got a little book here, which is one of my favourite ones. This is Sam Ashdown, but it's called The Selective Agent. And when I first started reading this, it was kind of like choosing who your clients and things are and how to work it. And I thought, oh, like, I don't know, I didn't relate to it to start with, but now I've slowly started to realise that, yeah, there's another thing that was brought up in November was you want list and you don't want list. People that maybe you don't necessarily want to work with because I don't know, I don't want to go into too much there, but your clients have kind of got to respect you and take your advice. And when you're working with someone who wants to value their own house and put their own price on it, and then they don't want to do things that you're advising to do. So it's kind of understanding that this is what we do, this is the standard that we work to, and this is what our fees are. And if you don't want to kind of work with us, then maybe you're not the client for us. And I hate to say things like that, but I've slowly started to realise when, we have put maybe properties on and they've very much tried to control what we do and how we market it and even like wording and things. So they're the properties that have probably struggled a little bit with as well. So it's kind of like just working with people who respect our advice and kind of allow us to do our job.
Definitely. Well, there's a saying, an instruction is a liability until it's sold, and you definitely want to be working with the right people to help you get and help them to resolve their needs. Anyway, thank you very much for your time. If people do want to get hold of you, Jennifer, for your kind offer earlier, how do they get hold of you?
Sorry, you broke up there, Stephen.
So if people want to get hold of you, Jennifer, how do they find you? How do they get hold of you?
So I'm on LinkedIn or my website. You can get my email details from there, Harrington Brown Property Limited, or you'll find me on Facebook and Messenger. So just drop me a message, and if I can help with anything, then I will. But yeah, it's been a bit of a roller coaster over a couple of years. But
brilliant. Well, look, thanks very much for your time.
Yeah, you too, and see you in March.
Well, look, you're doing really, really well. You're great. I look forward to it. You've grown your business. You're doing really well. I look forward to seeing your further successes and growth. And thanks very much. And thank you, everybody, for watching and listening today. Really appreciate it. Please like it. Please share it. Please get the message out there. Have a good day, everyone. Bye.